I navigate in games is like very similar to how I navigate in the real world. It can be done.
Computers can help people have experiences that they wouldn't have otherwise.
It's like a blind person getting to drive for the very first time.
Video games is a big business. I mean, it's bigger than the worldwide film industry, the television industry, and the music industry all combined. And maybe it's not a surprise, right? Because nowadays everyone plays video games. But what do we mean when we say everyone? I mean, what about people who can't see the screen very well? Or what about people who are blind? And that last question might sound a little silly for some people, because how does a blind person play a video game, right? Well, if you ask a blind gamer, they'll tell you. Usually you just gotta figure it out. But blind gamers aren't alone. I know one guy who not only taught himself how to play video games, but he runs a YouTube channel showing other blind people how to play games too.
What's up everyone, it's your favorite blind guy. My name is Ross Miner, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I play Animal Crossing New Horizons without any sight whatsoever.
His name is Ross Miner, and the first time I hung out with him was when I was writing a feature about him for Wired magazine. But he had fans even way back before then.
Video games are art, video games are escapism, but also a great way to like socialize with people. So I'm just making sure I'm lined up with the camera. If you saw the stream notification, I have a guest here.
I'm honored. What's up, y'all? How we doing? This is Dexter, by the way, Dexter Thomas. What's going on, y'all?
Some of my earliest memories are playing Pokemon. After I was blinded, like those games still held a special place in my heart. The thing with this weapon is that sometimes it's hard to tell if I'm hitting them. Usually I can. Nice. This is gonna be probably one of our best runs already. Basically in 2006, so I was like 8 years old, my mother divorced my father. In the act of retaliation, he shot me in my sleep and then shot and killed my brother Ryan and committed suicide. And so I always tell people I went to bed with sight and woke up in the hospital blind. I had a lot of people visit me, and one of them, he would like play Pokemon on his Game Boy, and I'd listen to him, and you know, I'd ask them like, I remember that sound, like you were doing this, weren't you? He's like, yeah. Or you know, I was like, oh, I don't remember what that sound means. Like, what happened there? And so eventually, like, I could piece together what was happening. Once I left the hospital and moved in with my grandparents, my mom and I, you know, got all my stuff, got my Pokemon games back. For whatever reason, I decided to like restart my save, like from the beginning. At that point, I was like locked in. You know, like I was on a mission.
Could you still walk through Pallet Town right now
Oh
if you
yeah,
had to?
easily.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Like, haven't played it in years, you could still pick it up and play it right now?
Easy, yeah. Without a doubt in my mind, yeah. I hear him making a bunch of noise over there. Oh, there we go. There's always this language of X person with disability persevered against all odds. Society is the one putting those odds in front of us. There are some video games, like no matter how much I listen and try, like I will never be able to play. I'm brute forcing my way. So it's like about raising awareness, like, hey, if we add accessibility features to these games, then like suddenly blind people wouldn't have to have all these complex systems for playing games, and they can just like pick up a controller and just play. More than ever, like developers are hiring consultants like myself to work on their games.
And this is where I find Ross really interesting, because he's not just making tutorials, he's literally changing how blind people can play video games. He's consulted on a bunch of AAA titles. He helped design a feature to allow blind people to pilot ships in Sea of Thieves. He's consulted on As Dusk Falls, and he even worked on Forza. What was that like amongst blind gamers when that game dropped?
Well, I mean, it was huge. This is a genre that none of us have played, like period. It's like a blind person getting to drive for the very first time. Any person or company that's like trying to solve the problem of like open world navigation for like a blind person, I give, you know, huge kudos to. That's kind of like the, in my opinion, like the next big goal for blind accessibility is like open world games, like navigating those types of games. And so anything to like help us move in that direction, I think is like a really good thing.
Okay, so when we say an open world game, you're probably thinking of something like Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is a lot harder to make accessible than it sounds, and honestly it seems like a little bit too much to ask. Things have come a long way. There's Forza, and there's The Last of Us 2, which was groundbreaking in the audio cues that it used to let blind people detect where enemies are, to pick up items, and even to do headshots. In the past, a lot of blind gamers depended on what we could call accidental accessibility. They'd rely on the game's sounds to indicate what was going on, and that's how Ross played Pokemon as a kid. He'd bump into the walls, he'd count his steps, and that's how he memorized the layout of the game. But as games transitioned to 3 dimensions, that became less possible. When you start moving the camera around, it's almost impossible to track where you are. It's kind of ironic. I mean, as technology and graphics got better, sighted players had better experiences in video games. But the experience got worse for blind gamers because they could no longer brute force those games. But does it really have to be that way? And that takes us back to Forza.
Left hairpin long into right 2, right 5.
So Microsoft gets a lot of public credit for being the first to bring a real AAA racing experience to blind people. But what a lot of people don't realize is that the underlying technology came from a small lab at Columbia University. So I went to go meet the director of the lab to find out why a sighted computer engineer got so interested in how blind people play video games.
So this is the Computer-Enabled Abilities Lab, and we are computer scientists that are working to make computers not just themselves smarter and more intelligent, but improve and enable greater human capability.
What is your entry point with technology and games and taking this so seriously?
I grew up in rural New Mexico. Video games were a way for me to have different experiences that I wouldn't have otherwise. Like, I got to be a race car driver. I got to go on these dramatic adventures, right? The turning point for that was actually a YouTube video that I watched of a blind gamer by the name of Terry Garrett playing an old Zelda game called The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. It was an awesome thing to watch because here's a game that I've also loved and resonated with growing up, and here's a person who's willing to go through so much work just to have some fragment of that experience. And so this is what made me think that, like, hey, we might be able to really do something about this by, like, let's say generating sound cues or haptic cues or like some kind of additional information that can give blind players a greater sense of their surroundings in a game and ultimately give them the same experience, an equivalent experience.
The cool thing about Brian's lab is that they're not a company, so they don't have to worry about turning a profit. They just make useful things and give them to people who could use them. That's how Blind Driving Assist happened. In 2018, they released this demo. 5 years later, Microsoft used that same technology in Forza. And now the lab is working on something new. It's called Surveyor, and Surveyor's mission is to allow blind people to play open world games. And they even let me give it a shot.
Okay, yeah, so here we go. All right. So how's this gonna work?
So you are about to play a game with our tool Surveyor. And this game basically is set in a space station 100 years into the future. Your job is to escape the space station by finding a few keys.
Okay, all right.
And you will not see anything, you will just be using sound for this.
Really?
Yes.
All right, okay. All right, let's do it.
So the base controls of this game are very similar to existing games. So to move forwards and backwards, you're going to tilt the left thumbstick. So every time you turn, you're going to hear a clicking sound.
Yes, I do.
So that is a compass function.
Okay.
And that clicking sound will always come from the north.
Okay.
And this is intended to help you orient yourself. When you run into a wall or an object, you're going to hear a scraping sound coming from that direction.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Material.
Oh,
Material and keycard.
material. Material and keycard. Okay, picked up one.
Yep.
Unexplored patch 8 meters to your 12 o'clock.
Unexplored patch 8 meters to your 12 o'clock.
Surveyor doesn't directly guide you to like that door over there. It guides you to the edge of the area that you've explored. And once you're at that edge, then you get control back. The status quo is that you just get guided to the door, you get guided to the key card, you get guided to the finish point, which isn't as fun.
Right.
This keeps that discovery and suspense.
Keycard collected.
There we go.
Wow. I just played a game without looking at the screen for the past 5 minutes.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That actually works.
Yeah, I mean, congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
It's hard to describe without you also using it, but Surveyor is really intuitive. It's kind of like using a computer mouse for the first time. It just makes sense. Vishnu says that blind people pick it up immediately and they're able to finish the demo in one sitting. Surveyor is still in development, but when it's ready, the lab plans to release it so that anyone, even small independent developers, can incorporate it into their game and potentially start an entirely new generation of accessible games. But there's more. Brian's lab isn't stopping at gaming.
This is also very relevant in the real world. The video game world, you might think of it as just like a virtual proxy or even a test bed for our actual surroundings, for the real world. And so a lot of these concepts actually generalize to real world use cases.
Okay, this is getting interesting. So not only could Surveyor potentially help blind people play open world games, but if you think about it, open world games are basically just scaled down versions of what we experience in real life. If Brian and his research team can take their virtual world technology and make it possible to navigate the real world of New York City, that will be something. Well, it turns out they've already got a prototype.
Yeah, so here's the app, and so we have put in the navigation from the Union all the way to the Riverside Church, which is right here. All right.
Okay.
Start. So now we go to the red flag, and then that's it. We start from there.
Okay, it's asking where do you want to go? I have 10 routes available. Okay, all right, we're already moving.
Currently on the map, there are 2 points available right here for us, which are at the crucial points, which are the turning points. One is called a trash bin, as you can see right here.
Okay.
And the other one, once you take a left from there, it's called the tactile paving.
Okay.
So we are expecting these to be called out in our ears and on the speaker right here.
Tactile paving, to your right.
Oh, tactile pavement, to your right.
8 meters, turn left onto Riverside DR.
I'm hearing it, yeah. And so if I'm low vision, if I'm blind, maybe I've got a cane and I'm like double checking, is this where I want to be? Is this where I want to be? Boom, I feel it. Maybe I even step on it to double check. Okay, yup, that's it.
Obviously, the main idea is the more he uses this and the more he repeats the same path, he's going to memorize a set of landmarks and eventually, hopefully, won't even need the app anymore.
Okay.
So that's the entire idea of the project.
I'm starting to see some of the implications of not just in a game world.
You were just in the video game world.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
here you are in the street with similar kinds of
The exact
concepts.
same thing that we were just doing in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that like this actually, no pun intended, but like this literally isn't a game.
The entrance is slightly to your left, and it's about 16 meters away.
You could actually like take Surveyor, like the stuff in the game where it's like something gets louder when you point something in a certain direction. You could actually apply that same kind of interface to the real world.
Absolutely.
Like everything else the lab does, this technology only works as a partnership. The lab works with blind gamers to test things and see what features work and don't work. And before anything goes into a game, blind consultants like Ross work behind the scenes to bring in their own ideas and their own features and implement things that make experiences better for everyone. And I do mean everyone.
What are all the resources that people need in order to live a good life? And that includes being able to pursue one's passions and interests, and that includes video games.
We're all just like working to make games accessible for as many people as possible and just like bring that kind of like happiness to the world. I guess I like in a lot of ways like try to give it back, you know, like pay it forward.